Blog Talk Radio.
We are the UR Tennis Network. Our mission is to be the voice of tennis. We enlist a team of passionate enthusiasts to promote our sport. We strive to bring interesting perspectives on the many spins of tennis. Our goal is to provide the learners of our sport with current news and information from many angles. We seek active participation from communities interested in tennis, but tennis is not interested in them. We are expanding our outreach. Tennis is a true lifetime sport that needs to be talked about, and the UR Tennis Network pledges to pursue this idea relentlessly.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Parenting Aces radio show on Blog Talk Radio's UR Tennis Network. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and we have another great show for you today. Today's guest is Reynaldo Garrido. Reynaldo is an 80-year-old gentleman living in South Florida in the Miami area. He has lived tennis his entire life, starting in Cuba and then moving to the States as a child. And he has some incredible stories to share with us today, so I'm really looking forward to our chat. But before I bring Ray on the air, I want to just remind you guys that the show does air live for 60 minutes. If we go past the 1 hour mark, the show will continue to record for the podcast, so if you miss the tail end, you can always go to ParentingAces.com, click on the radio show tab, and then click on the link to listen to the entire podcast or fast forward to where you left off. And I hope that you're going back and going through our archives. We have so many amazing shows, and the network itself has over 1,400 hours of programming. So if you have some time and you want to delve into some of the other shows on the network, there's some great information to be had on the technical side of tennis, on college tennis, on the politics of tennis, and there's just some really good information on blogtalkradio.com/UR Tennis Network, and you can find all of our archive shows there or on the radio show tab on ParentingAces.com for the Parenting Aces shows in particular. And I also want to just throw out at you that I just found out that the deadline to enter this year's Orange Bowl is tomorrow, Tuesday. So for those of you with kids in the 16s and 18s, that deadline is tomorrow, and I hope you will take a look, and maybe we'll see you down in Florida next month. That would be really fun. And so now, before I bring Reynaldo on the air, I want to just play a quick commercial, and then we'll be back with today's guest, Reynaldo Garrido.
Warning. Orthopedic surgeons are seeing an increase in overuse injuries when young athletes perform the same repetitive stressful motions over and over. Pitching, tennis, weight training, even long swimming workouts can cause overuse trauma that may require surgery. If your kids play and train hard, visit orthoinfo.org or stopsportsinjuries.org. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons and the American Orthopedic Society for Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Parenting Aces. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and I'm so thrilled to have with us today Reynaldo Garrido. Reynaldo, are you on the air with us?
Yeah, I am, yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm looking so very forward to hearing your wonderful stories of growing up in Cuba and moving to the States and playing tennis all these years.
All right.
So you're 80 years old now, which is amazing, and you were born in Havana, Cuba. Can you talk about what it was like living in Cuba as a young child and learning to play tennis there?
Well, let me tell you, everything was very kind of difficult because in those times, tennis in Cuba, especially in Havana where I used to live, it only supposed to be people, pretty well, they could play because not many tennis courts, and it wasn't that easy. But the people played tennis, And I started playing. My father used to be like I call that like a kind of a club player. He never really played tennis for competition. So he started me to playing him with my brother and myself. My brother was about 3.5 years older than me, and that's what happened. We did play together for many, many years. That's amazing. Now, I tell this story, we play all the time between him and I. We play every day, 2 and 3 hours. When I was 8, 9 years old, we play, and then it started getting difficult, the playing, because when we got to go to school, the high school wasn't close to my house. You had to take like a school bus and take you to the school and bring them back, and then take another bus to go and play tennis in a club who has the tennis courts, because it's not like the situation you see here, that you have courts very near your house usually, but there it wasn't easy. And then it wasn't tough for me, like a young boy, taking a bus back and forth to play tennis. But we enjoy a lot, and we play. I play all the time, and we play when I was a little boy. The tennis tournaments in Havana and Cuba, they didn't have too many tennis tournaments for kids, because there wasn't many kids playing. So so I did play some, and I won I don't think they have the 15 and 18 years old like they do here. They have juniors. They call it juniors. Anything was younger. So I did play. I won a couple tournaments, and then I started my real tennis career when we received an invitation from Miami Beach, the famous the Orange Bowl. And then they invite us to go there, and they pay us the trip to go down, and everything. So we were a few guys. We went down, and I did play the Orange Bowl in the 15 and under, which I did win it in that particular time, which I was really surprised for me, because I didn't know I played fairly good. So imagine to win that tournament, I think was a great thing. So from there on, I kept playing. And happened to me like I met Garner Mulloy there, and he talked to me and told me, Ray, you want to come to the University of Miami when you're ready to go to university? Sure, I did. And he did promise that, and I did came to the University of Miami, so I did play for Miami when I was 18 years old. So I played for 3 years with Miami University. We had a great team. We never lose the match. I think we had a record. I don't know how many we played. We won 162 matches or something like that. So Garner was really nice to me. So that's it. So I played tennis here in Miami, and after I finished. My English my English right now is not that good either. But in that time wasn't really very good to go to school. I mean, I speak fairly decently, but to go to a university is not that easy. So I did go there for 3 years. And after 3 years in the university, I went back in the tour to try to play tennis, because I really wanted to be a tennis player. So I did that. It wasn't very easy at all, because the situation in Cuba in those times, they don't help you at all. They don't give you anything to go anywhere to play tennis. You have to do everything on your own. So I did go my first year to Europe with $80 in my pocket and one-way ticket. So I hoping to do all right. So I did go there and play all the tournaments, starting in May, like Monte Carlo usually was the first tournament. You play all those tournaments like now. And the way you do that in those times, you arrange from like 4 or 5 months before the tournament. You have to write letters to the people who organize those tournaments to tell them that you would like to go to play, and you need an invitation, and see what the condition they're going to give you. And usually what they do in those times, they give you like between $80 to $120 a week for the whole expenses. I mean, that take care of your traveling, food, and hotel. So imagine, of course, the prices there in those times was very, very inexpensive, but still, the money was very, very, very little. So it was tough, a really tough situation. And then you had to go from one place to the other. But anyway, it was so much fun. It was unbelievably great. So that's what I do. I just play. I went to first year and played all these tournaments. I played Wimbledon. I played the French Open. I played Rome, and then in 1958, I think I did my best result when I won the Canadian Open, which it was a very good tournament. It's like the Rogers Cup now.
Right.
So I did win the Canadian Open in 1958. Oh, it was great.
Who did you beat in the final, Reynaldo?
Eh?
Who did you beat in the final of that tournament?
In the final, actually, I beat my brother. First time that ever happened. See, I have a book from Canada, and they said I beat my brother in the final when they had like I beat I remember I beat in the quarterfinals. I beat Whitney Reed, an American player. He was number one in the United States. He was a very good player, which I haven't seen him in a long time. I hope he's still alive. I think so. He's must be 82 years old now. So I beat Whitney Reed in the semifinal with Bob Bedard. He was the Canadian champion, the number one from Canada, and my brother beat Palafox. He was a very good player, and so that's it. I beat my brother in the final. That was very, very nice. Unbelievable.
A nice day for
and then
family, yes.
And then that's what I did. And then we came back, and every year the same thing. The tough part is that you have to go and write letters to all the tournaments. You cannot go and show up. You have to write letters, say, I would like to enter in the tournaments. So they answer you back, yes or no, and they tell you what they're going to give you. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. I mean, they give you, some little money to help, and sometimes they put you up in a place. So that would be great, but not very often. Right. Actually, the best tournament in money situation was Wimbledon. Wimbledon, if you enter in the tournament, they give you £100, and so it was almost $300. Plus, they give you a free ticket for the first week. And, because I don't know anybody in England, so what you do, the people come to you like unbelievable, and they want to buy that ticket for you. So they give you £50 if you just sign in their name for the first week, and that's it. So it's a little way to make a couple more bucks. Because, actually I didn't know anybody there to get the free tickets. So that was a kind of fun. See how it was great. The first year, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you also played Davis Cup for Cuba, yes?
Oh, yeah, I played many. I stopped playing Davis Cup when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
We play in that particular year that I won the Canadian Open. We beat Canada in the Davis Cup in Montreal, and the week after, my brother and I, we had to play Australia. In the next, so we lost. We play on grass. We lost to Australia, though. But I mean, that was a lot of fun. And then we play also. I play in the United States a lot of time in the Davis Cup. We play in St. Petersburg. We play in Havana. We play once. We played. We play in other countries too, like from the different. The format was different, and now they call it American Zone. Now they do it different. So we play for the American Zone, and Australia play for the American Zone. I don't know how, but that's the way they did it. So we always have to play United States or Australia in the first, second round, whatever. But
who are some of the people you played against in Davis Cup?
Well, the American.
Anybody. Who were some of the great players?
Well, in Davis Cup, I remember we played, for example, one year we beat Venezuela, and we played a guy named Pimentel. That he used to be a very good player from Venezuela. He went to the quarters in Wimbledon one year, and then that's a very good friend of mine. And he got a bad accident, and then he couldn't play anymore. And then I remember we played against the United States I remember Stray Clark and Hal Barrows. They were a great double player, and Ham Richardson. And see, this guy, Ham Richardson, I'm telling you, Ham Richardson, he used to be a good friend of mine, and I haven't heard from him in a long, long, long time. I think he's still alive. I don't know. But he was one of those cases that he had diabetes all his life since he was a little kid, and he's still doing all right. I think right now I don't know. I hope he's still alive. I haven't heard from him.
Did your parents ever get to come watch you play tennis? Did they travel with you at all, or did they come to your matches when you played at home in Havana?
Who, my friends?
Your parents.
Who?
Your mom and your dad. Your mom and your dad.
No, well, my dad, yes. My dad, yes. He loved to watch tennis, but they couldn't travel too much. And no, they only watched me play when I was playing Cuba. They play in Cuba a lot, and not a lot, but I did play for. After I left the school, I was mostly time. In those time we played 6 months in Europe, and when the season finished in Portugal. I remember playing the tournament in Portugal. That was the last tournament of the season. Then you go to South America because then the summer was coming to South America. In those times, we never play indoors. So that happened. We played in Europe until September, where the weather was pretty good. And then after that, then you go to South America and you play like a South American circuit that you play like 4 or 5 tournaments because it was the summer. So
right.
I think then after that. That was very nice, and then you go back to Havana for rest for a month or two before you start all over again.
And what?
But I mean, was a lot of.
What kind of?
But then let me tell you,
What kind of courts did you play on? Were they clay courts? Were they grass courts?
No, we only play clay courts and grass. Well, okay. Grass in Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. But otherwise, in that time, we play on grass in the U.S. Open. But we always play on clay court everywhere. They never play on hard court. They never played in hard court before. No, we play only clay and the grass in Wimbledon and U.S. Open in that time. And then I played exactly until 1959. I was playing the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And that was when Fidel Castro came to Cuba. I didn't know. I was here in New Orleans, and I went back to Cuba for resting because it was Christmas. So when I went back to Cuba, Castro was taking over the country, and what happened was that the whole thing started. It was cutting off everything, and then I decided to leave this tennis event and play professional high because then they were paying me money to play, so I said, well, I played like 4 years in tennis and, I'm 25 years old and, I don't really make any money. I was getting, I said, well, now they offer me to play high professional, which I was fairly decent player in high. It's a very difficult sport also, not quite as difficult as tennis, but you need a very good eyes, and you have to, you need that strength because the ball goes like 150 miles an hour.
Wow.
So I decided to play high in Cuba because, like I said, they pay me a salary already. So, I was getting ready to marry, and decided, I don't think, and that's it. Then I started playing high I played 2.5 years in Havana. And they closed the place. They closed the high because what they do there in the game high, people bet money. So the money is no in Cuba. You are not gambling at all. They don't have any gambling permitted legally. Everything. So what happened? They closed the place. They say no more high in Cuba. So what happened? I went back to tennis again. That's it, because I couldn't get out of the country. It wasn't to get out of the country in Cuba was very, very difficult, especially now. In those times was crazy. It took me like 2 or 3 years to get out of the country, and very, very, very difficult. They don't, terrible. I don't want to, talk about that. And then I already got married. I have my son, my first son. He was like 3 years old when finally we received all the permission and to travel. And then I went to Mexico. And I started working in Mexico. The tough situation is when you leave Cuba. In my time, they only allow you to go out with $10 in your pocket and nothing of value with you. You cannot tell. I used to carry a little medal in my neck. I'm Catholic, So they took that away from me. A little thing, made out of gold, which wasn't, not a big deal, nothing. So that's it. They took everything from me, from my family. So you take two changes of clothes, and $10. That's all you were allowed to take with you. That's probably you say I can't believe that, but that's the way it was. So you'll get.
So you
Go ahead.
You and your wife and your 3-4 year old.
My youngest son, yeah.
You left Cuba. You went to Mexico, and how did you finally get to Miami?
Well, I went to Mexico, and I knew him. I played in Mexico many times before. I have friends there, and then, like I said, when I finished higher line in Cuba, I stopped playing tennis again, which I played for maybe maybe 1 or 2 years before I was able to leave the country. It wasn't easy to leave the country, very difficult. And then when I got to Mexico, I got a job with the tennis association to teach the young kids there. So I teach some private lessons, and I teach some the kids from the association. So that way I could make a living in Mexico. Because I didn't like I said, $10. That's the most I took from Havana. So I was in Mexico like almost 4 months, and I received the United States the visa, resident visa. So I was able to come. But in my way to the United States, I went to South America to play some exhibition with Santana, a fellow named Ronald Barnes that he died from Brazil. We had that guy Pimentel. We had a few guys, and they tried to help me a little bit. So we play exhibitions in South. So I did play like a month in South America playing exhibition and make a couple bucks. And that's it. I was in the United States. I got here. And it wasn't easy either. You got here to get a job. I had to do everything I had to do here before. I remember I used to sell shoes. I couldn't get a tennis job for a month, maybe for a couple months. I couldn't get a tennis job. So finally, I got a tennis pro job in Florida. I was good, and I was there. And then I started teaching tennis again. And after a year or two, they offered me to play high line in Miami. So what happened? I teach tennis in the afternoon and play high line at night. So that was that's the only. At least then I was maybe able to save a couple of dollars because I had no time to spend it. I teach tennis in the daytime, and after I moved to a tennis club in Miami, they call it the Palm Bay Club. It was a very nice club. And was almost everybody was a movie actor. The lady who owned the club actually is from Atlanta, Dinkler. You may know about Dinklers. Connie Dinkler.
I don't. I'll have to look them up.
I think they used to have a hotel there in Atlanta. But I mean, she was a little. She just loved the movie actors or nothing. So happy she invited a lot of actors, a lot of movie actors, and they come to the place, and this place had a hotel, apartment, and the tennis court. And I remember now. Let me tell you this little small story. I remember I was I used to teach there, and a lady. I forgot his name now. I Dream of Genie. Remember that program, I Dream of Genie?
Yeah, Larry Hagman.
Yeah. She used to sit by the swimming pool there. She was a beautiful lady, and I was tennis court, and then I was give lesson to his husband named Paul Ansara. I remember his name, Joe Ansara. So I used to talk to her for all the time because she was, besides being a good-looking lady, she was very, very nice. She had a little baby, so I had nothing to do when I wasn't teaching. So I sit with her and talk to her, and I never knew that she was a famous movie actor. And then when she left the place, they said, that lady you talk all the time, she had the program in television, I Dream of Genie. And I say, what? I mean, that was something. Also, I remember playing with Aero Flame. I played Aero Flame, Anthony Quinn. And, he used to play, and then he said, don't hit my backhand. Just hit me because a lot of people stand by the court watching him play. And he said, hit me my forehand only. Don't hit to my backhand because my backhand was lousy. And so I remember that very, kind of a funny situation because, every people watching. He said, stand up there and he was watching. And he wants to look good. So he hit nice forehand. And that was a nice story, I think. And I met a lot of movie actors there. A lot of guys. I met Bing Crosby. He bought me a tennis racket. He gave me a present, like the first record that he ever made. He has it in a money clip. So he gave it to me, and a lot of guys, a lot of movie actors. But in that time for me, it was very difficult because I really didn't know anybody from the United States. I came from Mexico, from Cuba. I never have seen television with the American people, so I didn't know who was who. Especially on TV, maybe like in a movie, yes, but not in TV. So I met so many guys when I knew who they were after they left. But it was very, very funny situation. And though it was
a great door opener, yes. I mean, it provides an opportunity to meet all kinds of people.
Oh yeah, that's right. Amazing how many people I met, and I still know a lot of people because in the tennis you travel all over the world, and then when you like in that time you're from Cuba, it's Cuba, the situation with Cuba, everybody, it's a tough situation. People very happy there. They had nothing there to do, and tennis is very limited now. And you know what happened in tennis in Havana right now, in Cuba mainly. Everybody who play tennis now they've been invited to a tournament, in another country. They go to the country, they play in the tennis tournament, they stay. They don't come back to Cuba. So now it's not easy to leave Cuba playing tennis, like legally. They don't let anyone to go in a tournament. Very difficult, very, very difficult, because they always stay. They don't come back to Cuba.
Have you been back to Cuba since you left?
Eh?
Have you been back? Have you been back to Cuba?
Well, yes, I went back. My brother is still living in Cuba. My brother becomes a scientific. He's a very he's a bird. He discovered a lot of birds that never have been discovered, and then he got a book. He write books with and then a lot of people go to Cuba. They call it those bird watchers. Mm-hmm. They a lot of them, and then he become like he showed the people very, very, very interesting. And then I went to Cuba. I went to Cuba twice already. Once, actually, last time I went to Cuba was 2 years ago. I went with the Tennis International. I think that is a tennis a group of people, all very nice people. I don't know you know about it. Tennis International. And they just went to Cuba I don't know why. They asked me, Ray, you want to go to Resort because you speak Spanish and you know the situation. And then they told me, we pay actually, Don Thompson. Don Thompson is my friend. He was one of the members. And we played tennis in school. He used to play for North Carolina, I think. I'm not sure he would play for North Carolina. And then he's the one who called me to tell me to go with them. And then I went to them for 4 or 5 days in Havana. And they saw the place, and they played a little tennis. And then I went there. I haven't been in Cuba for a long time.
Were you concerned?
But it was.
Were you concerned when you went back to Cuba that you would have trouble getting back out?
No. I don't think so because I knew a lot of people. Because when I left Cuba, I didn't leave illegally. I left legal. I left with the papers in those things. So I didn't have nothing to have to be worried about it. It never happened. So I knew about it. Everything. You would have lived in a boat or you escape. So you might be in trouble if you come back because they got your name on it. But if you did everything legally, you had no reason to be worried about it. So no, I know a lot of people say, "Well, you are not afraid to go back." I say, no. So. Well, I went all right. It was all right. It was pretty good. I mean, a little sad because the whole thing, the way it is now to the way it was before, is a big change. And the people in Cuba, they really they really had nothing. You know, like for example, to play tennis. I have my nephew in Havana. He's a good athlete. I used to play tennis. I play racket. He doesn't have. They don't have tennis ball. Is just like amazing to get tennis ball in Cuba. It's very very. You don't get it. You have to pay maybe $12-15 for a kind of ball. You find it. Not easy to find it. And then a string racket is very difficult. They have nothing of nothing. So tennis becomes a very almost impossible sport to play in Cuba. They do play it because the people send like I send racket to my nephew, a ball, strings and things like that. But that's the only way they can do it. Otherwise, they cannot get anything there.
That's so sad.
So the tennis is very limited.
That's very sad. So, did your sons play tennis growing up, and did you have other?
Well,
children?
yeah, I got two sons, and they both played. You know, they play, actually my first son, the oldest one, he played very good tennis. He was very smart playing tennis, and but he developed like a pain in his arm or something that he couldn't play that. You know, something. To play tennis, he suffered too much because he had pain like in his elbow, I think. So eventually he didn't play more competitive, and then he played later on, but no more, you know, competitive. But he won. I remember he won the New York State. I went to live in New York for a while. You know, I had a job in New York. After I came to Miami, I worked here in that club we were talking before. Then I went, when I finished playing highlight in Miami, I went to New York in a club there. And indoor tennis and outdoor. Tennis indoor and outdoor. I was very good. And there when my son started playing tennis right there. And I stayed there about 8 years. And he played there, but like I said, and he played a lot of tournaments. He won the New York Junior, you know, I think it was the 15 or 18, I don't know. I don't remember. But then that's it. Then he quit. And then I have the other younger son that he went to Florida University. Not Florida. I went to Tampa University, South Florida. And he played for the team there. He was a pretty good player too. But that's it. He didn't continue playing. He never played in big tournaments. He just played like local tournaments, and you know, he was a pretty good player.
That's
and
great.
now they play for fun.
And now
so
you
they
have
still playing.
Playing too, right?
Well, I still playing tennis, but I hurt my leg. The doctor really, you know, I had to have a colonoscopy, and I have something they call atrial fibrillation, which I'm doing all right. I have nothing, but you know, I'm supposed to take a drug they call Coumadin to put your blood thin. So I had to do a colonoscopy, and the guy said, well, you have to be off the Coumadin for a week. And so I went off, and when I went off for a week, and what happened after the operation, I have a blood clot, one in my right and one in my left foot. So that really, I'm all right now, but I can't play tennis too good. I don't move too well. So I love to play tennis. I love to play tournament because actually when I finished playing all my life tennis, when I had my vacation in the club I used to work, I used to go to Europe for 2 or 3 weeks, for 4 weeks, to play tennis tournament in the senior event. So I played senior tennis all my life, and I played for the United States against another country. Like every year they have those different. They call it senior tournament. I play in the 60s, everything. Terrific. It was great. I play. I enjoyed. I always loved to go to Europe. But it was great. But then you play this big tournament there, the senior, with a lot of friends of mine, and I played for the United States a few times. In different age events. I played in the 65 and the 60s, and then I started slowing down a little bit. But like I said, my knees were getting bad because actually that highlight game, it used to destroy my knees, because highlight you have to use you pivot. If you throw the ball, you pivot a lot, so your knees start suffering. And then eventually I had knee operation, but not the transplant. I just had knee, and they helped me fairly good. But after that, I never had the operation to put on new knees because my arm also I got hurt my arm bad, very bad. I fall one day and I broke 2 tendons, and that's it. So my surf, too good. So I slowed down. So I didn't play any more big tournament because I wasn't playing that good anymore. I was playing pretty fairly decently good, but I didn't have too much strength. And my main part of my tennis game was my strength. I used to hit the ball pretty hard, serve very good, but then with a broken tendon in my shoulder, my knee, so I had to play different. So I didn't like it that much.
So have you coached any young players over the years, any children?
Well, I did. I worked with Clerc. You remember the Argentine player, Jose Luis Clerc?
Yeah.
The Argentine. Well, his real coach. He used to be a very good friend of mine, and we're still good friends. And then I used to go with him traveling when he was playing the tour. Actually, when he won the French Open, I was there because I went to play in the Senior Cup in Austria. So I went to Paris and watched him when he won the French Open. I mean, he lost in the final, but I was there. It was very good. And then I did teach a lot of. I have a big program with kids. That's what I usually do after that. In New York, for example, I had like 150 kids. In a tennis from 4 to 8 every day on Saturdays. So I teach a lot of young kids, but like a tough kid, I didn't have, because I had to work, in the club, so I couldn't, you had to dedicate it. When you coach a guy, you have to be with him all the time, otherwise it won't work too good. So I had to be working in a club, so it wasn't easy for me just to keep with one guy. I helped a lot of guys like that. I remember I used to play with, you remember Gerolaitis?
Yeah, of course.
That he died. Well, he when I was in New York, he used to live near the airport, and he'd come at night. We used to play at 10 o'clock at night. In the club, I used to work indoors. So he used to come and practice with me. He was like 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. And then I played with him a lot, and things like that. But, I couldn't do it too much because I had to work in the club. You couldn't just dedicate it to one kid. But he was very good. He became super player.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
Yeah, he was. He had an accident. Amazing, but.
Yeah, very sad.
But like I said, I had junior, like we call it junior development. I had a lot of young boys, a lot of young girls teaching them, and that's it. Then after about 8-9 years, I was in New York. I came back to Miami, and they offered me a job in Miami, like a tennis supervisor of the city of Miami. So that's what I did for about 20 years. I worked in the different public parks, that belong to the city.
Sure.
Nothing private. Everything was public park, and then you had to, that's it. That was a great job that I had, I think. Because
there are a lot of beautiful parks in Florida, for sure. Lots of beautiful.
Well, that's right. And then you work for the city, and you have to be sure everything is, all the kids. You have to make a program for the kid for the summer. So in the summer was a lot of work for me, but it was okay. It was all right. But they pay you decent money. I didn't have to worry about getting fired or do this and complain about this. So the city was very good. I really was lucky about that, because after that you finish working, you have like retirement.
Sure. So
which help a lot,
Reynaldo, most of the people that listen to this podcast are parents of junior players, of kids that are playing tennis. So I'm wondering if you have some advice for the parents who are trying to help their children become the best tennis players they can be, possibly playing college tennis, and maybe for a few of them, lucky enough to play professional tennis. What advice?
Well, no, that's right. I always tell you, that's for sure. I mean, in Miami here, it's getting very big. A lot of young people. Yeah, I tell the kid that you play tennis now, bro, as good as you can, and try to go to college because there you're going to learn a little bit more. You're going to be young enough to play in the tour if you want to become a tennis pro, a touring pro. So like you go to college for 2 or 3 years, you don't make the college, you can go into the pro, but at least you're going to have an education, and you might from there you can go either way. You're really good tennis, you stay in tennis, otherwise you go and get a job what you did in school. So you need to go to the college. It's amazing, like I did. I didn't learn too much in school, but I went to college, and I couldn't get a job. If I didn't play tennis. That's what I said. The boys, every time I see those kids playing, I really say, "What school? Have you talked to any school about it? Be sure, try to get a scholarship because that's what they're going to give it to you. You're a good player, so you sure you deserve a scholarship." So that's a great thing. So I try to tell the kid how good the school is, besides how much good time you're going to have there. Actually, I have one kid right now that he was a player. He went to Philadelphia. He's just there now. So I hope he's going to do all right.
That's great.
I used to play with him only about once or twice a week. That's all. Because he got to go to school here, but he already went to Philadelphia. I hope I'm sure he's doing all right there. When
you talk to the parents of the kids that you coach, what do you tell them? What do you feel like their job is?
Well, what happened with the parents is a very delicate situation because some parents become very tough, very difficult with their kids. They want them to become champion right away. And then I had to tell them that to be sure, be nice. Don't force them too much to do something. They do the best they can. So try to help them. When they don't play that good, to be not to get upset to the kids and things like that. Because otherwise, at the end, they're gonna quit. When they see the parents they don't like it, they get upset. They get with them. Sometimes they quit. They don't give the other way around. If you're nice to your kid, the kid is gonna understand that he just up to him. Nothing to do with his parents, and they be all right. See, I see that a lot here. The parents become so tough, very tough with the kids, and it's a tough situation. I think I don't really like that. I like them.
Are you there?
I like to be no. You don't have to be very very soft with the kids, but you cannot be, especially when they don't play good. When they lose a match, they play, so they're already unhappy. So you're going to be on top of that. You're going to start telling them a lot of bad things about it. That's going to accumulate. For in the little future, it might hurt. Because
right.
That's why I don't know. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but that's the way I see it. See, like I don't like the people tell me, you got to do this, you got to do that. You were so bad. What do you do this? And then you keep it in your mind, and it doesn't help you. Instead of being nice to you, you say, don't worry about it. You'll be all right next time. Just practice this stroke. Try to practice here. So you're gonna start getting better. To tell the boy to don't worry about what he played bad or not. Just don't worry about it. Next time he'll be all right, and he's gonna try to work on the strokes or whatever he needs to work. So he doesn't get nothing inside of his head that the father gonna start screaming at him or something like that. I think. I don't know.
I was having some technical problems. I'm back.
Okay.
So,
no. So what happened now? That's it. Like I said, I don't play. I still playing some tennis, but not too much. 80 years old. and I really missing those tournaments to go to Europe. And those senior tournaments is a lot of fun. I got a lot of good friends, and everybody's getting old. But what can I do? Nothing. Just watch. I have my granddaughter. She plays pretty good tennis, so I hope she does all right. She will.
That's great.
And
do you watch a lot of tennis on TV?
Oh yeah, I do. I do a lot. Actually, too much, Mom. No, I watch it all the time. Yeah. And I when I kind of watch, I put it on. I print it. I watch it later when I come back, because I go out, and then sometimes they give the time they put the tennis matches. It's not good for me, and then I when I come back home, I put it on and watch. No, I do watch. I like to watch.
Who are your favorite players?
Eh?
Who are your favorite professional players now? Who are the ones you like to watch?
Oh, my favorite. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but what I don't really like, for me, and I explain the reason, is this screaming every time you hit a ball. I think that's a very, I think it's bad. I don't really like it, especially that Sharapova, the other girl, Stepanek. Every ball they hit, every ball, doesn't matter hard or soft or low, they scream like. And let me and the main reason that I say that, because like I told you before, like I play highlight. Highlight is a very difficult sport, very hard, and you follow the sounds of the ball. The ball goes 150 miles an hour, and when the ball hit the walls, it has a sound. And that sound tells you more or less the speed of the ball because it's so fast. So that's what happened. I got it in my mind in reference to tennis. Now, every time you hit a ball, bah, you go, you scream. It takes away the sound of that ball. So it helps you, to the guy who does it, it helps. But the opponent, he can get a little, that's what I keep in my mind. I mean, maybe, I don't know you understand what I tried to say.
No, I do. It interferes.
Yeah, and then just every ball, because I understand, for example, you're running on a very tough shot, you get to the end, and then you hit a ball, it's all right, you're screaming because you're making a big effort. But anything, you hit a drop shot, you scream. Everything you scream.
Right.
For everything. So I don't like it. That's the one thing I don't really like for tennis. So, but the main reason is what I just told you. The sound, it helps to know the speed of the ball.
Right.
It let you know, the ball you hit it hard. It's not the same like the one you hit a drop shot. It's different sounds.
Sure.
So for me, in my situation, it's different. Another tennis player because, like I said, because the highlight. When I play highlight, I follow that sound very, very much.
So
but besides, I don't like it. I think it doesn't look too good. Not the big screen. I don't know if you agree with me or what, but they were trying to do something about it, but they haven't done anything. No, because the law in tennis, the rule in tennis say you're not supposed to talk. You're not supposed. So now they don't talk, but they scream.
Yeah.
So it might be a little. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Just a guess, thinking from me. But I don't know. Yes.
Who is your favorite to watch then?
Well, I always liked, I really like, Federer, everybody liked to watch Federer, I think. Because he's look a very decent man and nice. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't do anything. I hate when you see those guys breaking rackets, breaking the racket, that thing. It doesn't look too good, especially when they play the kind of tennis they do play. They're making a lot of money, so they're making a bad thing. And you see now, a lot of kids, they imitate this guy. They say, well, this guy does that, why I cannot do it? That is a bad example for young people, when they throw rackets, but Federer, I think, I like Federer pretty good, because he never do any, he's a very, very normal person. And I think he's my best guy to watch, I think. I like another guy watching playing. They play great tennis, but I think Federer is my favorite. I think.
And do you prefer watching the matches on clay courts, hard courts, grass? Do you care?
No, it doesn't matter to me. I watch anything they play, and then I try to figure out what they do. The way they hit the ball. I try to pick up something out of that. And not just watch the match. I see the way they serve, where they put the foot, how to stand, where to toss the ball, and little things like that. It help. To teach to another kids.
Right.
Because I usually like the serve. I used to serve good, and I like to teach the serve because I think the serve is about it's a big thing in the game. You take advantage of you serve is very, very good. You're already ahead of everybody. So
Sure.
I try to really work on that very well.
What do
But
you
I don't know. I like another guy playing tennis too. There's actually a lot of guys that are great players, and I just cannot recall now another person that I like pretty good. I mean, I like, for example, Federer. Is a guy to watch. Nadal is a little, it's very difficult. I like to watch Nadal, but it's nuts the way he plays tennis. He does everything different, and you tell him what to do. But he fight, and he really fight. He doesn't get upset. He never do anything bad. And Ferrer is the same thing. Ferrer is a very fighting guy. He fight. And, that's something that is great for young people. So another guy, they complain all the time. But I think like those guys, I think they're really nice to watch.
Did you have a chance to see the Andy Murray-Tommy Robredo final yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
That was
I think they both were dying. They were dying. I think they were so tired.
Yes.
And I think Murray was kind of laughing because that's what I think. He thought that Robredo was making a show like he had cramps or something. And he was kind of laughing, like you said, Robredo was holding his legs and do something. I mean, they really were. I think they were both very tired.
Yeah.
And they were lucky they didn't have cramps. But I think that was an unbelievable match. It was unbelievable. It was great.
Yeah.
They played fantastic tennis.
They came up
they
with
played great tennis
shots at the end, huh?
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic game. It was great, really good, unbelievable.
Yeah.
See, okay, so I don't know what else can I talk about.
Well, is there
I don't know.
any other advice you want to give to the parents out there before we finish?
To the parents?
Yes.
Well, like I told you before, the only thing, I think, the bad thing about all this is I believe, or I think, the way they told me, I used to be very tough with my sons in the tennis. I was very bad, so I don't want to talk too much about that because I think when I was, teach them, I was a little tough to them, and now I hate that too much. I wish I would have been different, but that's the way I was. I was a very competitive player, and I want everything to be, good and tough and tough and tough. So maybe I was a little tough with my sons, but I don't know if they get upset or not. But like I said, what I advise to the parents, like I said to you before, just try to be nice to your kid. Don't take them down when they lose. Don't say bad things about it. Just try to give a little pep so they don't feel bad, and they just tell them the next time they'll be better. Just practice. All you have to do is just practice and see what you did wrong, but don't get upset to the guy, because I think that might accumulate inside, and if in the future they might quit, because they don't want to hear anything bad about it. Right? So they have to be nice to them. Not nice, but they don't have to be tough to the kids. They're trying to do the best, but if they can't. Just to try to help them to improve. And I think that's the best part, I think.
Well, I think that's great advice, and I think we'll end on that. So thank you so much for being on the show today with me and sharing your incredible stories and your experiences with my audience. I learned a lot, and it's always wonderful to hear from people like you who have been playing this wonderful game for so many years and found so much joy and happiness as a result of it. So thank you for being here with me.
I hope they understand my English. I could do it maybe a little better, but you know what happened? I forgot so many things now. You know, when you get old, you forget. But at least I remember a few things, nice things. Everything I remember from tennis is nice. I had a great time. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable how great it is to play tennis and go all over the world and meet people and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Reynaldo, and I look forward to hearing even more stories from you in the future, and I hope you continue to feel good and can be on the tennis court.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best for you and your son. I hope he does. I know he come to Miami. I see him. If he comes down here, I'm going to see him because I go to school once in a while, and I play tennis with a doctor friend of mine who lives very near the school.
Great. Well, we'll definitely.
Okay, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
And to my listeners, thank you for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Reynaldo Garrido and his incredible stories of growing up in Cuba and moving with his family to the U.S. as a young married man, young dad, and all of that. So he's just proof positive of all the beautiful things that our sport can bring to our children, and I'm just feel so grateful to have the opportunity to talk to Reynaldo and to share his stories with you. Hope you guys all have a great week. We are in the midst of a tournament here in Atlanta, and I want to remind you to please nominate your favorite tournament directors for our inaugural Best Tournament Director Award. That form is on ParentingAces.com, so please take a look. You have a few more weeks to get that in, and I'm looking very, very forward to going through all the nominations and honoring those tournament directors that are doing it right out there. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week on Parenting Aces.